I figured the whole thing was going to either be scraped or thrown in the trash. And all of a sudden, magic started to appear on the canvas. Hey everyone, this is Holly. Thank you for being here with me today at my channel, The Morning Pour. As you can see, I'm not happy with the results of how this first pour went. In this case, the paint is still wet. I've decided to just go ahead and come in with additional white paint to flood right over this, rather than letting this dry first. The choice is always yours. There are perks to doing it either way. So go with what you feel inspired to do whenever you end up with a pour, the results of which you do not care for. Either let it dry or just come right back in and flood it with more paint, moving off the old paint in its wake. So I'm starting to just drizzle on my colors. Yes, this is going to be a holiday themed color palette, but of course I'm adding in other shades, other colors, so that it's not just hardcore red and green. This would allow this painting to be displayed at other times of the year, depending on the coloring in one's decor. So as you can see, I am simply drizzling on one color after the other, and I'm coming in to do a little smearing action with some Amsterdam black paint mixed with Aussie Floetrol. And there you go, my friends, there is the magic. I want to thank my friend Donna from the channel ItsArtByDonnaM. She is the one who so kindly sent me a box one day with a bunch of little goodies in it, and one of the goodies was a small bottle of Aussie Floetrol that she took from her own stash. I am so grateful for this because although I had seen other people do magical things with their Aussie Floetrol mixtures, there's really nothing like experiencing it in person, or at least that was what it needed to be for me in order for me to really see the value in it. I probably would never have bought my own Aussie Floetrol had I not been given this wonderful small gift, which really is a big gift, from Donna of ItsArtByDonnaM. So as you can see, I am continuing to make a variety of different smears and shapes within the paint, using more of my black swiping mix that I created from Amsterdam black paint and Aussie Floetrol. There I created a little swirl just a moment ago, and here I'm coming in for another swirling effect. Ooh, look at that. I love this swirl. I love the overall design of what's taking place here so far. I'm starting to tilt. I do have my footage sped up just a little bit here. I believe this is 2 times the speed, so I'm in actuality tilting quite a bit slower than what it appears to you on the screen right now. So definitely keep that in mind. When tilting, you want to tilt really slowly, maintaining as much control as possible. Always bringing your paint back to center before going in another direction. So here I'm pretty happy with how well the swirls have maintained their shape, but at this point right here, I start to lose it a little bit. I actually liked this painting a few moments ago more than I like it right now. I do find, however, that there are still quite a number of intriguing things about it. There's a lot I do like, but I don't love the painting. It's okay though, I'm not really sure what else to do with it at this point. And so I figure I'm just going to let it dry, and you see me here swiping underneath the edges with my tool there. You can use a variety of different things to do this with. I happen to have my palette knife there. So at this point in the painting, I actually thought that I was done. I wasn't in love with this, but I thought it was pretty good. I didn't really have any other ideas offhand on how to make it better. I wasn't completely thrilled, wasn't completely disappointed either. I figured I would just let it sit, let it dry, and call it a painting day. And then something unexpected happened. And what that was is it got knocked into and it got kind of messed up. And so I got a little bit frustrated, and I thought, it's completely a wash. This painting is totally over. And so in one flurry, I made a motion on the painting that went something like that. With my finger, it still had the glove on it. But because I thought I was done painting, I had turned off my camera. So unfortunately, I have no footage of that because I was done. So why would my camera still be on? It wouldn't. So anyway, I thought the whole thing was over. I thought, this is it. It's a disaster. And I just went like that real quick on the canvas. You know, kind of like my exclamation mark, I guess. This is just done. I figured the whole thing was going to either be scraped or thrown in the trash or whatever. And all of a sudden, after I made that wild motion through it, magic started to appear on the canvas. I couldn't believe it. I was also really upset that I had taken my camera down. So what did I do? I quickly put it back up so that I could at least capture what it looked like at that point. And that's what you're looking at right now.
Look at this. I mean, it's incredible. There are so many different shapes and motions and textures and amazing effects. To think it went from this, where I thought I would be finished, to this, in that one magical sweeping motion that I literally thought was the motion of destruction in actuality. This is incredible.
Just kind of, I mean, I don't know, let me know if you're marveling over this. I certainly was at the time. I really could not believe that it went from mediocre, as it was, where I had finished, to I thought it was over. Done for. Dun, 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 dun. And then, whew, magic happened.
So at this point, I'm overall just floored and stunned, but of course I do see a few things that could really make this pop a little bit more. A few things I can do to give it just a bit more contrast and a bit more differentiation between some parts and another. So some of that I did while it was wet, as you just saw, and at this point the canvas is dry, and I'm going to be coming back in with my brush, and I'm just going to be adding some shadowed areas in some of the places where I can really bring the contrast a bit more into being. You can always go back in, my friends, with a paintbrush and use really thin layers of paint to very gradually build in extra little touches that would really give your finished painting that extra special little flair. So always do your best to keep this in mind, my friends. If you have a painting that otherwise comes out really nicely in the types of shapes that you see, certain textures or certain motions of the paint, and yet the contrast isn't as much as it could be to make it really pop, you can always come back in with a brush and do some really simplistic brushing in very thin layers. So I like to work in thin layers because you can keep them transparent and you can build them gradually, and that way you can slowly control the amount of paint that you're adding in. It does take a little bit longer, but you're able to maintain more control over the final outcome, increasing your chances of ensuring that you will be really pleased with the outcome. This is really simple to do. You do not have to have fine painting skills to be able to do this. If you have not tried this before, even if you've not ever really painted with a paintbrush before, I would recommend getting 2 or 3 somewhat inexpensive paintbrushes. Now, I'm not recommending the cheapest ones ever because they do tend to lose hairs. You'll cause a lot of frustration in your painting experience if your brushes are losing hairs, so don't get the cheapest ones. But you usually can find decent brushes that do not lose their hairs or their bristles, and they don't have to be an exceptionally large amount of money. So I would get one that's about the size I have there, and maybe 1 or 2 that are smaller in case you need to add finer details in some of your paintings that you may wish to touch up.
So let me know what you think about how this came out. It definitely was a fluke and a surprise, and I love this little part right here where it kind of looks like a little butterfly wing.
in the way that the effects took place on it, the black and white butterfly wing. Let me know if you think so too, and let me know any other comments that you would like to leave me. And once again, I thank you for being here at my channel. And again, if you do like my content and you're not already subscribed, consider subscribing and clicking the bell so that you can come back and be here again with me for another pour.